Why did U.S. military strategy fail in Vietnam? Breaking news for history enthusiasts. The question on many minds today is why the United States military strategy failed in Vietnam. With recent discussions around military tactics and historical lessons, this topic is more relevant than ever. Let's break down the factors that contributed to this significant moment in history. The U.S. military strategy in Vietnam faced numerous challenges. One major issue was the nature of the conflict. The Vietnam War was primarily a guerrilla war. The enemy blended into the local population, making it hard for U.S. forces to identify who was friend and who was foe. This led to a strategy focused on attrition, aiming to wear down the enemy through overwhelming firepower. However, this approach often resulted in civilian casualties, which alienated the local population. Another critical problem was the lack of a clear political objective. The U.S. aimed to prevent a communist takeover in South Vietnam, but the government in Saigon was often corrupt and ineffective. This made it hard to achieve stability. The U.S.-backed coup against President Ngo Dinh Diem in 1963 further destabilized the situation. This created a series of weak governments that relied heavily on U.S. military support, failing to produce a stable regime. Logistical challenges also played a significant role. The U.S. military struggled to navigate Vietnam's dense jungles and mountains. These conditions favored the guerrilla tactics of the Viet Cong. The reliance on air power and artillery often caused collateral damage, further eroding support among the Vietnamese people. Additionally, significant political opposition arose at home. As the war dragged on and casualties increased, public opinion turned against the conflict. This led to widespread protests and political divisions. Such domestic unrest limited the U.S. government's ability to escalate the war or maintain a long-term commitment. Lastly, the U.S. underestimated the determination of the North Vietnamese and Viet Cong forces. Despite suffering heavy losses, these forces maintained a strong will to fight. They received supplies and strategic guidance from China and the Soviet Union. This resilience, combined with the U.S. inability to secure a decisive victory, ultimately led to the withdrawal of U.S. forces and the fall of Saigon in 1975. These interconnected factors highlight why the U.S. military strategy in Vietnam did not succeed. Understanding these lessons is essential as discussions about military strategy continue today.